unless you pass our budget as we're proposing. Now, their budget would put 21 million people at risk of losing Medicaid. It would cut federal law enforcement by 28,000 personnel, 28,000, FBI, DEA, etc. It would cut 100,000 teachers and support staff. It would cut 30 million veterans health care visits. And I increased the VA budget because the veterans were in such difficult shape, having so much trouble getting appointments and the like. According to Moody's, not the Democratic Party, according to Moody's, their budget plan would eliminate 780,000 jobs. Say it again, it would eliminate 780,000 jobs according to Moody's. And America's debt has accumulated over 200 years, and my predecessor, in the 4 years he was president, increased it by that total debt by 40%. 4 years. 4 years. Let's be clear. And by the way, even during that period, all the Republicans voted to, the Republican Party voted to increase the debt limit, like the only responsible thing you could do. At any rate, let's be clear. This is no small part about paying our bills that were accumulated not by me, not by my administration, but by former presidents and previous Congresses. I was in the Congress, so I voted for some of them as well, but I wasn't president. We're not a deadbeat nation. We pay our bills. And some of you cover a lot of foreign policy in other countries. You know this is becoming an issue in other countries. What's the United States going to do? Are they really fooling around with not paying their debts? And so, look, next week I'm going to reiterate to congressional leaders that they should do what every other Congress has done. That is, pass the debt limit, avoid default. And as I've said all along, we can debate where to cut, how much to spend, how to finally move the tax system where everybody begins to pay their fair share or continue the route they're on, but not under the threat of default. Let's have the normal arguments. That's why we have a budget process, to debate and open so you all can see it and know exactly what it is that they want to spend the money on, what they want to cut it on, who pays taxes, who doesn't pay taxes, and us as well. We're ready for that debate. We're ready for that debate. We've made enormous progress over the past 2 years. And again, just today, reporting 250,000 new jobs. Just this last report. The last thing this country needs, after all we've been through, is a manufactured crisis. And that's what this is, a manufactured crisis. And that's what it is from beginning to end. It's a manufactured crisis driven by the MAGA Republicans in the Congress. Look, instead, we should be debating a vision of our country's future. Their vision versus our vision. Totally legitimate. Totally legitimate. And it's legitimate the American people said we like their vision better than ours. But debate the vision. And whether or not we're going to take our country backward, and certainly not whether or not we're going to default on our debt. And I remind you that under the previous president, Republicans voted 3 times to increase the debt limit. 3 times. No one's ever not voted to increase the debt limit. There's a lot to discuss today about our vision for the country, and investing in America is the core of what we're all about, and to build our economy from the middle out and the bottom up. And I know it's not very appropriate for the minds of many of our friends on the other side of the aisle, but decide what's a fair tax system. This is an awful thing to do, and I don't really mean it, but I'd ask the person to raise their hand. Anybody thinks the tax system in America is fair? You know, okay? And maybe you don't like the way who we tax and how we tax, but this is about everybody beginning to pay their fair share from our standpoint. I understand the Republican position. This is about cutting taxes, more taxes for the wealthy. I get it. But we should have the debate in the open, not behind whether or not we're not going to discuss it, because if we do, we're not going to have the debt limit passed. And so, you know, I think we've got a lot of work to do. And I'm doing a major press conference this afternoon, so I love you all, but I'd like to ask you to leave so we can get down to business.
President Biden, Russia has alleged that the drone attack over the Kremlin was that the U.S. was behind it. What's your response to that?
I'll be happy to talk to you about that, but not now.
Mr. President, yesterday here in this room you talked about the dangers of AI. What are the dangers you see, sir, and did you hear anything from the executives that assuaged your concerns?
There are dangers. We'll get a chance to talk about all those things, I promise you.
You said a press conference.
Administration prepared for the lifting of Title 42.
Thank you so much, guys. So much.
Everybody, you guys all move this way. Thank you. Watch your stool.
You notice I put the guy with the 18-inch biceps right in the middle.